What's up, everybody? Blake Ward here with the Red Room Podcast, episode 1. And today I have a very cool guest, almost new family member, going to be coming up here pretty soon. This is Jaron Denson. What's up? Soon to be brother-in-law.
Nothing much, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Honored, number one.
Yeah, number one, man.
Me today, Elon Musk tomorrow.
Yes. We'll work towards Elon. So yeah, dude, thanks for coming on. So this is it's a lifestyle podcast, but also with hints of real estate. And I thought you would be great to, kind of start this whole thing off. So for those who don't know, about 6 years ago, was it?
Woolsey in 2018?
Yeah, the Woolsey fire in Malibu. Jaron, you went through that, man.
Yeah, went through it, lost everything, started again, almost lost it again in the Franklin fire just here a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was an intense journey.
So walk me through it. What are you doing? What's going on? What's your day like? And then all of a sudden you get this news.
Oh, it's really interesting. So previously my father had passed away. And so my mom was kind of didn't know how to manage a house that large. And so I came in there, it was in really bad disrepair. So I came through there and I spent about a year renovating it, pretty much outside of my job as an aerospace engineer. So I would stay up all hours of the night trying to work on this house, trying to get it done. And literally I was put the finishing strokes of paint on the renovation. And it burned down the next day. And at this point, I had moved in with my mom to help her. I could afford one house, but I couldn't afford two. And she had a much nicer house, so I did that. I also moved my whole business, which was a fabrication shop for drones and stuff like that, which was up and coming for me. That started back in 2015. So my whole life was there, and then literally. It was gone.
So when you hear about this, what time of the day is it do you smell it? What's your first indication that everything's burning?
Well, yeah, so that one, what happened? I think it started the night before. Before my house burned down, because my house burned down in the afternoon at 3 or 4. But it started, early morning. Yeah. I got a call from my best friend. He's getting evacuated. We had a whole editing suite at his house and stuff like that. So he's like, "Hey, we got to go." I'm like, "Come, fire's not even anywhere near me. Come hang out with me." So I helped him evacuate.
You get him get all of his equipment out and everything?
We got all of our equipment out for our business. And then we had to get down to our house, which turned out to not be so much of a better plan. But yeah, he spent the night, him and his wife and kids spent the night. And then we kind of stayed put, and we just monitored the fire all day. It's kind of a weird situation because the winds come up, the power goes out. When the power goes out, cell phone towers don't have power. So there's no way to communicate with anybody. And it actually to this day, it is still pretty eerie because Edison shuts the power off, obviously, to reduce the likelihood that electrical lines will spark a fire. But in doing so, all of our communications are shut down. And Malibu doesn't have cell phone service like most other places do.
I noticed that, pulling up to your place.
It's not just my place. It's just very spotty there. We don't have a lot of cell phone repeaters and stuff like that. So anyways, so we were without information. We watched the news till we lost power, and then we just kind of sat and waited. And unfortunately, I was one of those people who refused to leave. And then when I was looking at my neighbor's house burning down on both sides of me, my driveway on fire, I was like, I think it's time to go. Yeah, I was looking at.
Do you have videos of that?
I do actually. I have a very short video before it got really hairy, because most of the time I was what I felt like was, kind of trying to save my life.
Yeah.
You know, like firemen like get up next to it all the time. And
so did your whole street burn?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There's like,
couple homes that somehow.
yeah, there's like some homes on the other side of the street. Like I would say the wayward side of the street, the way the winds were blowing that day. They made it, but pretty much all the side that the wind was blowing up against, and fire burns really fast uphill. I don't know if you've seen this phenomenon, but we live at the top of like a promontory bluff, and it just like came up really, really fast. And flame tornadoes everywhere. And I was like, I had like a garden hose in my hand, and I was like pointing it that way at the fire, you know, but then like the wind would just take it and go right back over my head. I was like,
yeah,
I think we might be in a bad way here. So I kind of knew that we were in for it.
And then with your own home and stuff too, you guys like lost a lot of stuff too, right?
I mean, imagine everything your whole life. And in my case, my business was it was like everything. It was a lot of loss. Yeah. I mean, before that, like lost my brother, lost my father. And then it was just like my mom and me. And then it was like, trying to, I don't even know how to really describe it, but just trying to maintain that portion of my life and my family and my livelihood and everything. So yeah, everything was wrapped up there. All my eggs were in one basket, as they say.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
A very old flammable basket. Yeah. So yeah.
you show up back to the property, and I mean, just like, I can't even imagine, like, I have like my one little story about like coming back up here, during the Santa Cruz fires or whatever. But I mean, it was just going through like our house and my grandparents' house, just like searching for what can we grab, because we couldn't take everything, so it's like, you're grabbing all that you can, and then you come back to your house, and then what were like the first like thoughts going through your head, because there's a lot of people that like, they hear about these California fires and they don't really like know, what I mean? They just see the big fire coming up, but there's like a lot that goes with that. So you show back up at the property, like, what are your first steps here to being like, okay, I want to rebuild? I mean,
I don't think even that came until a long time. I kind of had to mourn the loss of my like life, that aspect of it, obviously I didn't die, but, man, I'll tell you, it is just such a disheartening experience to really go through. And, also one of the most transformational experiences I've been through. And I honestly wouldn't go back. I wouldn't do it any other way. It's a weird thing to say, but it really taught me a lot. I really learned a lot, learned to persevere through anything at that point. Shortly after the fire, lost my marriage too, got divorced. So it was, You
went through it.
Yeah. So I went through it for a minute there, but, now I just like, I couldn't see it being done any other way. But, so when I was like trying to leave, I left, everything's on fire, and I'm trying to go up the driveway. And, I always am like thinking like, oh yeah, like cars need oxygen to survive. So I should probably, to keep running or,
Yeah.
So I'm like driving out my driveway, and my truck's almost like choking out. I got my dog in the back, and then like, I'm going down my street, and just everything. It's just like, it honestly looks like, I don't even know how to say it. It's like Armageddon. It's like, it's not quite a war, but it's just like, it's like somebody dropped napalm, man. It was intense. And so I was trying to get back to our house, and I remember going past some of the houses that were just burning so hot, and the heat was like, my windows are all rolled up, but the heat is like coming through the windows, and
you could
burning
feel
my
that.
face. And like I backed up, and then like looked at my tires were smoking. But eventually, about like maybe 6 to 8 hours after it burned down, I went to go and look and see what was left. And that was a really, really, it's a surreal experience, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, because it's like, it's your home, but it's also like all the friends and family and everyone that like, all your neighbors, like everyone just like lost everything. So you're just coming back into this area, and it's just,
it's a weird,
it's eerie.
It's like the death. It's honestly, it's like the death of a family member or something like that, because it's like, you're like, they were just here, but now they're not, it's like, wait, I can't go back to my house. Like, it's not here. Like, makes no sense. It doesn't make sense in your head for a little bit. Yeah. So
you get to this point where you're like, I want to rebuild. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the story that I've heard is you went and persevered. You started calling people up. You started calling contractors. Everyone's busy because they're all up in the hills of Malibu rebuilding.
Sure.
And so what do you do from there? Because I think this whole entire story is just like Phoenix rising from the ashes, like very admirable, like just driven. It's a Leo thing, you know what I mean? Like you gotta do it. So tell this part because it's just it's badass where you just did it, you know.
Well, I mean, so I felt sorry for myself for a while, and that was cool. Once that kind of left me, I suppose I was like, well, let's go ahead and start rebuilding this house, and because it seemed like the only logical thing to do at that point. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I didn't know what was going to happen with insurance. I didn't know, what would happen in there. But I kept moving forward. And eventually I got to the point where maybe within like a couple of years, I had plans to do it, like physical plans drafted and got it approved by the city of Malibu. And then it came time to bid those plans. And then I was just getting, everybody's obviously, this is a huge, huge fire. I think it's the biggest, I don't know if it's the biggest fire or the most lost, but there's some record for the Woolsey fire in 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Charlie Foxtrot, man. Yeah. Like a lot of people lost. And so yes, there's a lot of people busy, a lot of people coming into town to try and help rebuild houses that don't even know what they're doing. It's a mess. It's a disaster. There's vultures everywhere. You got to be careful. So anyways, everybody's busy. And then I start getting like bids and I'm like, I'm starting to get an idea after fighting insurance, like what I'm going to likely get out of this whole settlement with insurance. And I was like, the general contracting fee to rebuild the home alone was like $400,000 or $500,000. So I was like, all right, 2 years time. I bet you I could get that done myself. So I just went and it's actually how I helped myself through college as well, was going and building homes with my brother and my father a little bit on some other contracting stuff. But I just went and got my GC license. I'm like, I know some people who are, got GC licenses that probably have no business having it. I don't see why I can't. So got my general contracting license and built my own custom home, 5,000 square foot. You've been there. It's pretty nice for a first build, I would say.
If you're looking for someone, this is your guy. No joke. Yeah. It's absolutely.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. It's and then we got to host, obviously, our engagement party, which was, we didn't even know that we were hosting the engagement party on literally the 5th year anniversary or the 6th year anniversary. I can't remember.
Yeah.
6th year anniversary. From it burning down to me rebuilding it. And it was a very surreal moment, but and really cool. It was just really cool to be like, wow, like life is going to be okay again.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I think just for anybody, again, watching this, it doesn't matter what part of like life you're in or what kind of job you're doing. This story right here of just, life hits you hard.
Yeah.
And, I always look to one of the Rocky movies, I forget which one, but Stallone's talking with his kid and his kid's like, I've always lived in your shadow and da, 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 da. I think it may have been Rocky 4. Sorry for all the people.
All the Rocky aficionados.
It
gets them to hate.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But there was this line where, Stallone was talking and, to his son, he's like, look, he's like, you're going to either let the earth, life's going to like knock you down and bring you to your knees. Yeah. And, you're either going to sit there and not get up or you're going to get up there and keep fighting because that's what winners are made out of. Again, it's not the direct quote, but it's in the ballpark of it.
It's a paraphrase.
It's a paraphrase. Yeah, exactly. But, I think it just speaks true to like who you are as a person and like, getting to know you just from that standpoint alone, hearing that story and then meeting you and getting to know you, because, obviously you're going to be marrying Blair and be part of the family, and it's you're like I said at the engagement party, you're the first first guy that, like, just coming from Big Brother standpoint, where I'm like, okay, I like him.
Yeah,
like
I got the approval.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just like down to earth. You're cool. You're just a good human being, and just like all the crap you went through, and you just like persevered through that, just speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So again, if you're looking for someone to like crush it at your home, I'll try to get some pictures and we'll throw it up now. They're up there.
I'll send you the picture of me in the heap of there's a picture that my buddy snapped of me when it was literally just a burning heap, and you can just see me like in the distance with the headlights. It's pretty rad. And then I look back on that picture and I'm just like, yeah, man, I did it.
So going forward, then we have this recent one that just took place.
Oh yeah.
And then, I'm like driving down to see you guys, and then like, what's going through your head again? Well, you're just like,
see, you're like, how's that going? I'm like, I'm good, man. Obviously,
luckily it wasn't bad.
It was bad for some people.
But to the extent of the Woolsey.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of have this weird, I guess I'm former aerospace engineer. So I was like, this thing's going to be zero maintenance. It ain't going to catch on fire again. So, I really took the time to battle harden it this time, it's completely, there's no vents on the thing. It's all closed cell foam roof. It's steel roof, stucco. It ain't burning down, man. So you're like, hey, what's the deal? I'm like, dude, I got the Tesla power walls. I got solar. I got fiber optic. We're good, man.
Yeah,
come hang out, man.
Now.
You can come right into the belly of beast. We're going to be just fine.
Ready for it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that too, there's a lot of talk in the real estate world with fire insurance.
Oh, geez.
So what's going on with that for you guys down in Malibu? Because up here in Northern California specifically, we're getting the brunt of it, and people are having to go on the, I think it's the FAIR plan.
Yeah.
And it just costs, like, people say, oh, it's an arm and a leg. It's like, no, it's like 2 arms, 2 legs, and your torso. You're barely left with a head, to get around.
Yeah.
But, so what's that like down in Malibu? Are you seeing?
So I can only speak for my situation, and I don't know about a bunch of other people have different things, but I've seen people, like, generally speaking, like insurance premiums, just speaking on the house that burned down for us was like maybe $1,400 to like $2,100 a year. Currently it's like doubled, but I know people who have policies now that are costing them like, I don't know, $40,000 to $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And like, we're not on the California FAIR plan. We're with a company that my family's been with since like the 70s. And I don't know if we're just getting preferential treatment, but somehow we've maintained it. But I know very many horror stories like that. Also, the California FAIR plan is not really fair, but that's typical politicians, right? Whatever it isn't, put in the title.
Yeah.
So if it's fair, it ain't fair.
Yeah.
But they're required to give it to people, and at least they have something, in the event of a loss. And I think it was, in all honesty, from this, we had to sue Edison to make up for the shortfalls in insurance. And, I highly advise anybody who's had their house burned down by, lines coming down and stuff like that. There'll be a mass action suit. You're going to want to get on that, because that's the only way you're going to be able to do it, unless you are, I'm not an insurance guy, but I guarantee that most people are probably underinsured.
Yeah.
To save on their premiums.
Yeah.
And, obviously saved a ton of money building it, generaling it and building wherever I can. But yeah, man, insurance.
Yeah.
That's my favorite topic, actually.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah. So much fun. So we're also, right now, my last grandparent passed away 23 in February. And we are now in the process of getting ready to renovate the house. My grandparents lived in a neighborhood called Paso Tiempo in Santa Cruz, really pretty. It has a view of the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk, the redwood trees. It's a nice house, but they were like the first people to live in it since like 1974. It was a brand new build then.
Yeah.
So Jaron is helping us kind of tackle that too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just, what are your thoughts like in general about that house?
Oh man,
we're going through it right now.
I don't think we should. I don't think we should bring that up here.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be good, man. It's one of those things where I think in home building, I always tell people, it's like, well, how the hell do you eat the elephant, man? It's one bite at a time, man. You just have to do one bite at a time. And when you walk into remodels, I actually think it's easier to just build a house from the ground up than it is to do a remodel.
Yeah, it's because like you're saying, you have to go through.
Because like I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to start opening up walls to see where where the load bearing, where the beams are being carried and where the load bearing walls are, and then it's like you have this plan. You're like, yes, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna open this concept, and you're like, yeah, but you didn't consider that post goes right here, and that's gonna get transferred over these doorways, and so. There's a little bit of there'll be some things that we'll have to address, but it's all screws and wood, man. You figure it out.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you make little compromises along the way and you just don't tell the owner about it.
Yeah.
No,
Hi, mom and dad.
Yeah. They'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether the duct is centered in the room or it's not centered in the room, or, I'm not saying like, don't put the proper size beam in. I'm just saying sometimes, you got to run things not the way you want, or you got to drop a ceiling and you got to make sacrifices here and there and, whatever. You got to fur out a wall and then you lose room in a closet. But, if you don't, it's good enough for who it is, who it's for, I should say.
Yeah, I think the plans we got right now are pretty cool. I'm excited to see what that looks like, and when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even having, what was really cool is that I got you online with the architect, me, and your folks, and we all sat down and we're looking at it. And then you're like, hey, I've been seeing this and this, what you've been seeing while going through your journey of now becoming a expert on homes yourself.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, like, why don't we do this? And actually, I think you came up with a really cool way to redo one of the bathrooms because we were kind of trying to play Tetris with it,
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, why don't we do it this way? And we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh, that's a great idea. So
yeah,
I think it's cool. Building is fun. It's collaborative. It's like anything, it's a team sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting being able to go on these brokers tours and seeing these homes that are just, ready, to sell. And I think the fascinating part is like, I'm a big car guy. And so when, I'm driving down the street, you're like, okay, that car's from the 70s, that car's from the 80s. And it's like, I never really thought about it and it makes total sense, but it's like, it's the same thing with the homes and the styles like in there. And so you're like, now it's like after doing this for a bit and you're walking into these homes, you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what year this was built just by looking at different, things and just seeing how things kind of went like out of style. And now it's all open floor concept and, everything. And we're trying to, get rid of the sunken living rooms. Like that's kind of like out of style, but sort of in style now, I guess,
I think it's like anything. It's just like everybody rebrands and recycles everything in like 10-year cycles, and who knows?
Yeah.
My ideas are always like, let's make it timeless. Let's make it, let's make it stand the test of time,
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool. What I was going to say about it is what I was going to ask you is like, do you feel like you get jaded because you go into all these like really high end homes now and you kind of, and then you're like, man, I'm just trying to build this like little tiny home over here, and you're like, wait, why doesn't this place have its own wine cellar and theater?
Yeah.
Like, why is that not in this house?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Just we'll have certain agents that are up in Los Altos and, they're selling these like, $30-50 million homes that are like, the same things down in like Bel Air, for example. Yeah. And I remember we had like, it was a special broker's tour and we walk into this place and front door like opens up. There's an elevator. They have a bowling alley on the second floor. You know what I mean? It's absolutely wild. I think one of the crazier ones that I personally seen, this was last summer. So it was like, and you will remember this, like it was like my birthday. We were at the Greek restaurant in Malibu. I forget what it's called.
Taverna Tony's. Shout out to them.
Yeah. Shout out to them. They're great.
Yeah. Go eat there.
Yeah. But I was just sitting there and I got this, email from Mauricio and it was like, oh yeah, there's this broker's tour, like, come on and check it out. And then, up here, I'm like, oh man, like I'm always rocking a suit, walking through these, broker's tours and everything. I'm like, man, I didn't pack a suit. So I had to like go to Zara's really quick, buy something, throw it on. And like the next day I show up, I'm the only one wearing a suit.
Oh yeah.
No one up there is wearing it. And it's this like,
are they out there in their jammies? And
yeah,
stuff?
it was like this like 9-bed, 12 bath, like 30,000 square foot property. Just like this, like even if I had the money, I don't think I would have gone and like purchased that, but it was just absolutely huge. But you just like walk into this place and it was just crazy to me. Like how, like just all these different, like there's another level of just like things
of craziness.
Yeah. And it was the funny part was there's this agent from Compass and he was like, this is a very unique property. And I'm like, yeah, for 50 million. I bet it is,
Better be for 50. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said it was 9-bedroom, 12 bathroom.
Yeah.
Wow. So your bathrooms have bathrooms basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, if you want to look at the house, it was on the very last episode of season 2 of Buying Beverly Hills. They were there and it was funny because I was there earlier in the summer.
Is it still up for sale?
It switched brokerages like a couple times.
Do they take cash? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah, because they take cash. I might be willing to put in an offer.
Yeah. So, changing topics, exciting news. So you and the sister are getting married here in August of this upcoming year.
Yeah.
And you're getting married in a little town called Kirby Lonsdale, which is about like 2 hours north of Liverpool, where the Beatles kind of like, did their thing back in the day. Did you have any say in any of this, or Blair was like, I'm just going to go and do it?
She's done a very nice thing for herself. I will say that. It's amazing. She is, she's a great planner and she honestly, I can't imagine me trying to put something like this together, but she's such an amazing event planner, put it together for so many people. And she's like, yeah, we'll go, elope in England. And then it'll be like a destination wedding. Not many people show up, but then she designs like a website and puts like how awesome it's going to be in the itinerary and the pictures. I'm like, wait, we're trying to not advertise people to come out there and be part of this. Like maybe we don't direct them to the website. Because it looks like a once in a lifetime opportunity and experience, and I'm really looking forward to it. She's amazing. And we've selected a place that's, I think, got more sheep than people. I believe is one of those locations.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
Green Hills.
Oh, dude, we toured you were there. We toured it. It was just whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
It's a fairy tale. So
yeah.
Really, really looking forward to that. It's gonna be a great time. I think it's like, I don't think I've ever done like a 2-week long wedding, but I think leading up to it, we're gonna be doing all kinds of bro stuff.
Going to London for a bit.
Yeah, going to London. We'll do some whitewater rafting. We'll do some skeet shooting.
Yeah,
and there's some whiskey tasting, some craft cocktail whiskey tasting. And hopefully that before skeet shooting, we'll see how it kind of goes.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
But
you gotta liquor me up before you give me a gun.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, that should be fun, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. And so, And so RSVP wise, I think we're like at 130 people right now.
Wow.
And she sent out only 150 invitations. So
yeah,
if you're looking for somebody who has a high conversion rate, you should probably get in touch with Blair Ward.
Yeah. Shout out to the sister if you need help planning something. She's a go-to.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah,
she's amazing. Yeah. So,
and then honeymoon.
Oh,
has that been talked about yet?
TBD.
TBD.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that part out.
There you go.
Yeah.
That should be fun. Yeah,
But
I definitely want to do Ibiza. I swear, like after the wedding's done, I'm going with John or Derek or whoever. We're just booking it out there.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Because that's a young man's place.
Yeah.
I'm a married man. I can't be carousing around with you youngins.
Yeah. You can hang, but you know, if I took you away from Blair, I wouldn't hear the end of it.
It's not you I'm worried about. I think she'd be like, you can go to Ibiza, but don't come back.
Yeah, don't come back.
You just stay there.
Right on.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's just going to be another one of those like life adventures and just another like example of like turning the corner and like life just beautifully unfolding for me and her. And yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then maybe Blake gets to be an uncle here. Who knows?
Yeah.
Coming up soon. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
I'm ready to. I think
step into those shoes?
Bear and Jace. They like me. I think cool uncle.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I think you've already got pretty much. Yeah, no, you got best uncle vibes for sure.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm like,
just play Halo. You know, just do that.
Yeah, play.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much, man. It just takes time and engagement with them, and that's all they care about. And in Halo, you gotta teach them to shit talk people early. Oh, to say shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. You can cut that one out.
You can bleep it. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, no, this has been cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're hitting the 30 mark. I'm trying to keep it to like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, nobody. Yeah.
Keep people engaged. You know.
Exactly.
But I think this was really cool. Like, thanks for coming on, and just the insight again through everything you've been through, and just coming out on top, man. And now you're getting a fairy tale wedding in England.
Yeah.
Some tea and crumpets. You know?
Yes. Yes. It'll be great.
Awesome. So yeah, this is Jaron Denson, everyone. Again, if you need your house built, this is a go-to guy. He will absolutely crush it for you. And we'll see you on the next episode 2. So y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Blake.
Woo. Thanks, Jaron.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.